Well, the showdown over immigration continues. President Obama is getting set to take executive action with the stroke of a pen that leaves Capitol Hill completely on the sidelines. Bill O'Reilly says the president is, quote, declaring war on the Republican Party and making a joke of the Constitution.
The 10-point immigration plan the president would impose on the nation is essentially an amnesty for millions of people. Some of them deserve a break. Some of them do not. But Mr. Obama makes no distinction, appealing to his left-wing base on humanitarian grounds. But by initiating an executive order that changes federal law with a signature, Barack Obama mocks the founding fathers and the Republican Party. If he does this, the president will pay a heavy price now with government chaos and later on the pages of history.
Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming is chairman of the Senate Republican Policy Committee, joins us now from Capitol Hill. Senator, is Bill right? Is this war?
Well, my concern is that the president is ignoring the American people. He's rejecting what the voters said just a little over a week ago. And it's not an executive order, it's executive amnesty. That's my concern. We need to do immigration reform. We have just, though, had this election. We have all these new members coming in. I think it's important that they work together to actually modernize our immigration laws. But to me, that starts with border security and enforcement.
It seems like the president's willing to go alone on this. In terms of actually what the Republicans are able to do, we've heard a lot of statements, things like toxic, things like war, things like poisoning the well, all these kinds of words. But what really are Republicans prepared to do to take the fight back to the president? Are we going to see something like a government shutdown? Is there going to be showdowns on other things in terms of this? Or is the only option the Republicans have continuing to talk?
Well, I would have wished that the president and that cooler heads had prevailed at the White House. It doesn't appear to be the case. We'll take every legislative approach we can to reverse what the president may be trying to do here. But it may be not enough that people just voted last week. They may need to do more, which means calling the White House, calling your senator's offices and say you oppose this level of executive action, which is executive amnesty.
Speaking of this, is there any common ground between the Republicans and the Democrats that could have gotten passed? For years, we've been hearing immigration reform. It hasn't happened. What are the points in President Obama's executive action, if it comes out, that you all could have agreed on, or if any?
Well, I don't think anybody has seen the whole action plan of executive amnesty by the president, but there are things we need to do with border security and enforcement, number one. Issues of E-Verify, issues of merit-based, skills-based visas. There are a number of things that can be done. The president's not going to be able to get everything he wants, but I think the American voters said, we want you to cooperate, work together, find common ground. There is common ground there that I think we can pass in the new House and Senate once the new members are actually sworn in. So I think that the president is premature in his actions right now.
If you just look at the optics of what's going on here, right after the election, President Obama invites leadership up to the White House for a lunch. They talk about bipartisan cooperation, all of that. And then all of a sudden we have this on immigration, which is clearly a nuclear bomb, if you will, in terms of politics in Washington. What does this mean for the next couple of years in terms of any type of working relationship between a House and a Senate controlled by the Republicans, heavy Republican majorities, at least in the House, and then obviously a White House now with a very lame duck president?
Well, I was at that White House lunch last Friday, and as I said then, the tone that the president sets for the next 2 months before the new Congress takes over does set the tone for the next 2 years. I'm looking for areas of bills that have already passed the House in bipartisan support, where a number of Democrats have voted for those, on jobs, on the economy, on education, on affordable energy, affordable health care. And I want to get those to the president's desk. That's what we want to do come January. Now, the president then's going to have to decide what he's going to veto and what he's going to sign, but he ought to sign the laws into law, things that have been blocked in the Harry Reid-controlled Senate that actually get our country moving ahead, getting people back to work and helping our economy.
Well, we'll see if both you all there in Capitol Hill and the president live up to the bipartisan cooperation or not. Obviously, an interesting couple of weeks, couple of months coming up. Senator Barrasso, thanks for joining us, sir. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Leland. You know, I'm a lot less concerned about the president trying to do an end run around Congress than I am concerned about the president doing an end run around the American people.
Well, an interesting point for sure, and one obviously that a lot of folks spoke about in the election. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank
Martha?
you.